Alright, we're a little bit late. Well, I'm a little late getting back, but it was worth it. So I did a hell of a lot of work on the app while I was off, and I'm going to show you what I've done, and then we'll continue from there. So, I was looking at stuff, and I decided, you know what? We got to really do something with the settings because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be put into there and redistributed throughout the app, the application, which is what I did. So, be prepared to be amazed because the settings will look nothing like they did earlier, and they are all over the place now within the app. So here's our normal thing. I've actually also been working on updating the look of it a bit. So this doesn't get selected anymore because whatever's selected as whatever the first tab value is in your controls is what will be selected. This was first, so I set it to some other values, so now it selects this first, but you can't really tell except for the outline. On this, it was highlighting the text and everything. So let's go to options. First thing you'll notice, no more checkbox settings here. And this is called settings. And that's because, holy hell, we have a bug. Oh yeah, I remember now. I changed this to SRC. As you can see now, there's a lot more settings than there were before, and we need to fix this because I changed the name of this and forgot to redo the name in here, which is bad. Alright. There we go. So this is the application setting window now. So as you can see, it's a lot different. We have tabs now. We have a new box here for stuff, and we have our two things here. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset this to the folder. So they're now called source files, not SQL files. Let's see. That's gonna be in here underneath tools and here and SQL. I still have the folder called SQL files. And then for custom source files, that's just going to be whatever. So instead of having some, needing to go by some sort of item, some sort of file name convention with these, you just type in whatever your custom stuff is. So in my case, I'm going to use what it shows there, item db custom and mob db custom. So on the next tab we have our database settings. So this allows you to change different things about how the database is going to be, how what you're using in your database, and how the files are going to be written out. So, for example, these save locations, when you have when you don't have anything else selected, you only have your ItemDB and MobDB okay, try again. Only have those available to you because you're not using your secondary source files. So that's your item DB2 and etc. And you're not using your RE files because you're on a regular server, not an RE server, pre-RE server. So those will be the only two available to you. Now, if you're on an RE server, check that. Now you have your RE and mob RE. Let's say you're using your secondary source files too. Check that. And now you have all of your tables available to you. And then you have to check this so that you will load in your custom files as well. For us, we're going to be saving them to ItemDBRE. All these two settings will do is tell the application where to what table your items or mobs will be saved to. So in other words, if you're using SQL Server as denoted here, then it'll generate out SQL and certain update statements to these tables specifically. If it's a flat file, then it'll save them to an output file with that name. So that's the next thing here. So you can choose between flat files or SQL database here. So if you choose the flat files, that's your rAthena /database folder tables. SQL is the database tables. So we're going to say SQL for this. Next is other settings. So nothing I can do about these. It's just how the coding behind disabling controls works. I guess I could set. I guess well, if you try and set this manually, for checkboxes, it doesn't work right because the foreground will also change the label. Also, I figured out that you can switch the text to the right or to the left by switching right to left to yes instead of no. I have no clue why. I guess it's because they think that the checkbox is the origin point of the control or something, which is bullcrap in my opinion. It's Microsoft logic. I disabled it, didn't re-enable it. So what this does is, we'll go through it. So report data, errors in app. This is very nifty, and I'm putting it in because if you don't check this, you won't see anything in your app in terms of errors, except for messages that say that you had errors or warnings, and that they were written to logs. So if you turn this on, you get everything, and you get spammed and blasted and tsunamied and avalanched by warnings and errors if there's anything wrong with your data, which there invariably will be because the source data for rAthena is crap, as I noted earlier. Enable logging will turn on your logging. Obviously, the things you'll get from this, either if they're on or off, depend on whether logging is enabled or not. If logging is not enabled, then nothing in the logging class, I just put a if statement around it, and it won't even fire the it won't even do anything when you call the create add log entry function. So turn that on. It enables all these other controls. I'm just going to OK real quick, get it saved. And I'm going to fix that for a second. Let's go to setting design, yeah. And then this, we're going to switch back to enabled true, because that controls the enabled state of all the other controls. So it's sort of important to have that able to be used. So options, settings, okay, here we are again. So over here, let's make sure it saved everything. Oh, it didn't save these. Interesting. Or rather, it didn't load them correctly, I guess. I'll have to check that. So if you enable logging, it enables all this other stuff. So logging level 1 to 3, just basically, level 1 is information. You only see non-critical errors and no warnings. An example might be that your buy is set lower than your high, or buy is set lower than your sell. So that means that the item can be used to manipulate or to the players will be able to use that to make a bunch of zenny. Log levels independently. This is an interesting thing I decided to put in here, which is it allows you to have each warning level that you have available. I have to actually implement the logging level in the logging. That's what I forgot to do. That you have available through this to its own file. So if you only want to see errors in one file, you can put errors in one file, warnings in another, and information in a different one. Otherwise, if that's not checked, it'll just all go into your logging file, which will be still what it is. With these, you're just putting in a suffix that'll be appended to the normal file name for the log. So it'll have the date, and then it'll be underscore whatever. So in this case, we're going to turn up all the way to 11, or 3 in this case. We're going to turn that on, and we're going to set these. So info, warn, and error. Okay, it's okay there, and we got a problem. So let's see. The exception log is of a non-compatible type. Really? So it has an int, and this is supposed to be an int, I believe. Logging level. Int, yeah. So why is it not compatible? That's interesting. Isn't saving to the right one? Where's the oh, crashed it, but this, here we go. So logging level, nudge log level, nud log level, setting is log level, that's right. So oh, it's a decimal, gotcha. So we need to parse that to an int. Or convert, I guess. Convert dot to int 32. Okay, that should work now. Now, what about the other stuff that's not saving? It's kind of interesting. Dot checked bool, which is what it should be. Use RE checkbox. What about loading? Checked. Dot checked equals bool. Default use RE. Cbox use RE. Cbox use RE. So it should be working. Don't know why it's not. So that's an actual bool. There's no problem with that being set or not in terms of the value. Let's run this again and check it out. Settings. So again, we'll turn all these on, even though I'm not using the secondaries. We'll set this to DBRE and MobRE, data source MySQL. Other settings, enable logging 3, and that's interesting. If ckbox user.checked equals... Oh, okay. There's the problem. We got, I don't know why that didn't throw an error for, but it did. And it should have thrown an error. Actually, it should be not equals to. In other words, if it's different from what's stored in the settings, need to update it. There's the problem. Alright, let's go ahead and reset this again. The other stuff should have saved that time, though. And SQL. Yeah. Okay. Now we've got a problem. Never mind. No, we don't. It's just a breakpoint. Okay, there we go. And we're going to check it again anyway, just to make sure. No! Our drop downs aren't working now. Why not? Okay. So, drop downs. For this. So, if selected text. Selected index, find string exact string equals the index for selected index, and then we should be able to save the string from that. Okay, so I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one here. And I guess on data source too, although the first one will probably tell us more. Alright, so why are we not seeing anything in this getting saved? So oh. No, that's right. So that's interesting. If it doesn't equal what's there, yet when we tried to load it, it wasn't loading the values. So I had on very good authority that this would work. Little bastard's gonna hear from me. So let's see. Let us see what we actually get from this. -1, of course. Alright, so, is that because there's nothing here? Yes, it is. So that's, okay, so yeah, it's not saving. That's interesting. Because selected text isn't getting set, maybe? Alright, continue. Selected text. Okay. Okay. So so I think what we have to do is just do this. As stupidly stupid as this is. Dot items at then cbox. I just want to see if this is an actual problem or not, and then we'll figure out a way to so possible intended reference comparison, get value comparison, cast the left side hand to type string. But it's not an int. It's items is a string. I guess it could contain ints, so I guess that's what it's saying. So that it could contain an int, because it's a collection. Collections can hold anything. Kind of like the garbage heaps of the world, C++ world. Okay, so change this back to this and save. So what do we get from this? Now we get a string. And that saves it. Okay, we come back, load it again. But it's not loading in here. Because now why? Because we know there's a value there now, since it's saved. Oh, I got to save it again. No, yeah, it didn't save. Custom item lock. Custom item lock. That is definitely the setting. If it wasn't, it would say that it didn't exist because it couldn't save to there. So CUST underscore ITM underscore LOC. CUST underscore ITM. Yeah, that's right. So B settings changed, which it should be there. It is equals true. So settings are default.save. Continue. Still -1. Still nothing. That is slightly disturbing. What the hell? CUST ITM LOC. CUST item lock equals. Oh. Because we're not doing the item ones, we're doing yeah, custom. No, it's custom item location. Yeah, no, that is right. cbox custom item local dot items. Let's put that selected index, which is right. At no point does this get turned to false in any of these if statements. It's always true, unless it's not changed. So, why? Let me throw a breakpoint on this. Okay. Okay. Now what? Value of -1 is not an index. Oh, because we didn't. Damn. Didn't change it actually. So I didn't do any testing on this before I started streaming, so I probably should have. So database setting, continue. Nope, goes there. Settings.default.save. It definitely runs it. There are no errors that I can tell, but does not save the setting because when we try to load it in, custom item local has nothing in it. That is interesting. So I got a couple things to look up here. I'm gonna leave this open because I don't know. Well, not that one. This one. Just because of all the time we spent on that damn thing. So C#. Setting and not saving. Yes, I want to leave. Setting default not saving. Okay, here we go. Maybe run same scope as application, not saved user. No. Oh, really? Okay, let's see if that might be it. It's possible. I don't know why the other things would load and this wouldn't because of it, but we'll see. I'll try anything once. See if it works or not. So after we call this, it's no longer a one-liner. That's fine. Call reload. Close that. We'll go ahead and oh, and also so get index, get string by selected index. Actually, let me just use a different tab here. So get combo box, selected text, or just text, I guess, because from selected index. I'll probably get some stupid thing. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. It's a little less crazy than what I used. So I think we'll do that. So, oh no, we're still doing select. No wonder. Yeah, it's not the reason selected text down here still. Good God, no wonder. So item. So it's crap. So combo box dot get get item text and then so combo box dot selected item. So combo box dot get selected dot get item text and then C box cust item local dot selected item. And we got to use this down here, otherwise it didn't work. Derp. Probably should have done both of them before, but get rid of those. Okay, I don't think we'll need the breakpoints anymore. I probably won't even need reload, to be honest. But I'll keep it in there just because. And this should be fine now. Alright, start. Expected. Okay, select. So I'm just gonna do everything this time since I think it's gonna work this time. Okay. Settings and no, we got that one, but not the other two. Damn it. Well, one of them worked. The other two didn't. Why? What the hell's going on? Custom box selected index. Fine index. So that's fine. And then this one worked. But these ones didn't. CMS custom mob local get item text. Select items not equal things. Okay. They're pretty much the same, unless there's still another frickin' stupid thing somewhere. I mean, this one got set. That's what I don't get. It's kind of strange. Maybe the reload did something. Let's get rid of that thing. And then I'm also going to put some breakpoints up here after those, and then I guess we'll put some down here too. Okay, so that's right, IMDBRE. Okay. Refresh. -1. So this is getting -1 from custom item location. So, but this one isn't. This one works. Why does this one work, but the other ones don't? 1. That is very strange. So, cbox, cust item, local dot items. For some reason, are those items not in there? Well, we only have one thing in here. That's probably why. And what is that one thing? ItemDB, yay. Because why? Because these need to be called first, otherwise they don't get added, and that's why. Because they don't exist in there yet. God. Okay. Crazy ass bug of my own creation. Stop. Start. Settings. And now you will show me something. No, you still don't do it. Why not? Because you're still not there. Okay, where's the on check changed for these? So on check changed. Source file. On source file check changed. Sender equals cbox useRE. Cbox useRE is checked. Add these or remove them. Just wondering if it's removing them instead of adding them. Is it being called at all? It should be, unless this is on click and not on check change like I thought it was, which is possible. Nope, check change, that's what it's on. So whenever this changes to something else, it should call it. Okay. So then, from whence is the error? So if secondary... Oh, I also need to move RE up there. Did not realize that's where the breakpoint was. So I'll put the breakpoints. Has to be on an actual line of code, I guess. Okay, so option settings. Wow, it isn't getting called. Okay, so what is this? True, okay. So what is this? It'll say true. Okay, good. Now, why the hell aren't you calling this? stop, start. It is getting called. Okay. Oh, because the sender is not crap. Right. That's why. So do we really need the sender thing here? So because either this is going to be checked or it's not. If it's not checked, then there's nothing to remove. Though it may cause an error because it doesn't exist. It shouldn't matter, really, to be honest. Well, we'll see. We shall find out by disabling these lines of code, and we will just stop and reload and watch the explosions happen. Oh, never mind. They didn't happen. In fact, it's working now. Revolutionary. There we go. Okay. Problem fixed. Alright, we get rid of these. And these. Though it is going to run this if the only downside to that is we're running this if the we're clicking on the yeah, yeah, no, we don't even need it. We don't need that on that button. So I was trying to frickin' say we don't need it on the checkbox. This custom source files one. Come on, friggin' double click. It's the most annoying thing I've ever seen. Okay, there. How's it not valid? Use custom files. Yeah, we don't need it because it's not going to call it anymore. There. Oh my god. Okay, because we are running. Such an easy thing to overlook. Okay, there. There, take your running and shove it. Okay, so, not a problem anymore. Okay, so now, like I was saying, the other thing we had to do is go to logging and, we need the logging, I didn't even include that in here, the logging level. So, int, and we need to get it from the I guess just log level. I'll check it though. I think it might be logging. And it is just log level. Okay. Alright, so then we're going to take this and we're going to say and level is equal to 1. Is less than or equal to 1. Or 2, I should say. And actually, that's going to be... no, that's right, yeah. Less than or equal to. So info is only 1. If we're set to 1 only, we don't want to do... Or if we're set to... Oh, wait. Greater than, not less than. I was going to say, wait a second, that didn't seem right. So if login level is 1, then we don't want to... we don't want to have anything else. If it's 2, we only want logging. We want to log the info and the warnings. And if we have all 3, we only want to do all 3 of them. So we can just do an else. Or no, we have to say and logging. Or well, do we? If it's 1, yeah. Because if it's 1 and it's a warning, well, it's the error. If it's an error and logging is level 1, yeah, we do have to put it in here. Okay. So that should handle that. And now to show you kind of what I did with all the other stuff. So I went through everything here, and wherever there was a message, I added in this. Well, first I had to add in the using for the properties, and then had to bring in the property, the RPT report errors in app, and then wherever we had a message printed out that wasn't a message that was so if it's a message that's not directly related, in other words, so for example, this one's warnings. So if warnings occurred, which is a bool that's I put into the mob and item classes for non-critical errors. It'll print it out here if you're not showing the errors in the app. This will print out to tell you that there were errors while you were trying to do whatever with that particular item. And then on the return for the false, for the critical failures, that is always displayed in app. It's only displayed in app if there were no errors shown, again. So if you don't have errors shown, you'll still get notifications that there were problems, just you won't see the actual errors, and you have to go check the logs for them. That's how all of them are like now. So there's no more, if you don't check that box, you only get a few error messages in the application. Okay, what do we got? The property log level is not found. That's pretty. Is it log level spelled out, or is it? Yeah, it is spelled out. Damn, no wonder. Okay, just had 2 E's. So we're just missing E's. That's all we were missing. It's one vowel. Okay. That's why I go over real quick, take a look. Okay, they're off, so that's okay. Going to go to. I already have that on the options, so that's already ready to go. So we'll hit this, and we got errors happening everywhere and stuff getting loaded in. And we'll see if the logging. First, if the logging level thing works, and then also if the splitting of the files works. So let's go check our logging folder. Logs. Well, not really. I don't see anything anyway. Maybe did the logging folder change? Oh, we need to do capital M's, that's why. We did lowercase m, it's doing minutes, that's why it's not doing months. Okay, that makes more sense then. So this is the one we just generated? Really? No, it isn't. The one we just generated doesn't exist. Oh no, yeah, it does. It's up here. So this is the last one. So warns. Those are old though, I think. No, these are old, yeah, so it didn't work. I'm pretty sure these are old. It didn't append anything. Oh, PM, yeah, it's PM, no wonder. That's right. So yeah, no, there's, let's see. 12:58 PM. Would be an AM. Like, say, this one. Okay, there we go, that's better. I was gonna say because these warning messages weren't correct because I made painstaking efforts to go through and include the item ID so that you'd be able to find it more easily. So attack range has failed to parse correctly. Upper, all the crap that normally would be spamming the hell out of us in the app is now not doing so. I'm thinking about adding a checkbox, another one in there that says report warnings as errors, meaning report warnings as errors means that warnings still wouldn't show even when you say to report errors in the app. And only will if you check that box, because otherwise, even with that box checked, you're not going to. You'll be sitting there for 5 hours going through these frigging messages, and there's still like what? Yeah, still 15,700 something files, lines worth of. Well, it's probably less than that actually, because it's double lined. So, still like 7,500 something lines of errors. But our error splitting thing didn't work. The logging level thing didn't work, which is interesting. Okay, let's go to logging. And I might just have to deal with the order of the if statements. Oh, we're already at logging. Okay. So if B logging is enabled and yeah, we need an and here. And yes, I know. And not star, not asterisk. Oh no, that's right. Because then we do this here. So if this is not enabled, then just write out to the file. If it is enabled, then do this. I create a new function here just for that. So this is where we're having the issue at. So this is not showing up as true. It should be, unless the settings are not working right. Indie logging, or setting indie well, we have to be setting indie logging, otherwise there would be some other error somewhere. Potentially. Indie logging. And we're setting it to that. Info warn, enable. Oh, nope. We are missing that one. That's why we're not saving it. That comes after the, no, before the logging level. After logging level, I mean, but before the location. Okay, so that's why. CK box. Logging levels indie checked. Okay. So, now we should get it to save properly. Let's have to open up the options and check the setting. And okay. And so I was setting it, but we just didn't save it. Yeah, interesting. Back to here. File, generate files, load source files. So now we should get 3. Just real quick throw a breakpoint in there. No, it still didn't go. Okay, let's see. Let me reload again. So this is set to false. Why? Because we are not. No, I logging indie logging. Should be true. Oh, because logging hasn't updated. We have to restart it for it to update. Right. Because it's part of the instance when we load this in. So we might want to have something where we, if we do open up the settings when we come back, we maybe have some functions somewhere or in all the classes to update the setting values. Or maybe just have a function that we put those into there to set them, and then we just call that function again when we do that. Alright, so if we go to file load this time, true. Okay, good. So let it go. Didn't really load successfully, but we'll fix that later. Now we should have something interesting. So we have worn, but I don't see anything else. So we don't have any errors, that's good. Just warnings. I'm going to generate, I want to make sure it's working though, so I want to generate an error. So I'm going to change that one right now. Okay. Let's go ahead and reload. I don't have any info things, so there's not going to be anything that'll be able to test that. We should see an error one now. Whoops. No, just warning still. Oh, that's interesting. So why? Well, there's a weird. Oh, that's the one I made earlier. Let's delete all those. Let me hit this, and we'll hit close. What is this? RB. Yeah, it should be loading in. This is the DBRE. I want to change this to capital M, so we're not. Using minutes anymore. Oh wait, what happened here? What happened with that? So that's interesting. This was supposed to be different now. Log name was, we're supposed to create this. Oh no, that's right. But we need to put no, that's right. Never mind. That's right. I moved it down there because now we need to store the date string when we create it so that we can add a suffix to it for all the other names. So let me just check these, and then we'll put a thing here to check what the using is. I may have to, like, I don't know, maybe somehow, I mean, using should automatically, though, clear the logger reference or logger instance when it's no longer in scope. That's what the using is supposed to do. If you don't do it before then. So, info, warn, and error. Yep, those are all there. Load the source file. So, file name, warn. Let me put a breakpoint on. Let me actually do a return here and put it down below here. And then when we hit that, then we'll interesting. So what is logging level? 3. Load source files. Load them. There should be at least one that calls here, unless I need to. Maybe I need to check that. I might have, as using existing ones to copy over down to the other ones, and it might be set on warn instead of error. But I didn't see it in the thing, which is interesting. Though there's, like I said, 15,000 whatever of them. So, being with mobs. Nope, it's error. It's definitely error. So let's hit that and then go to logging again and put this here. Okay, continue. File, load source files. Okay. Already checked that. So if it's greater than warn, or it's warn and greater than 2, still it's not. And it's an end and not an or, so it should. We didn't. Yeah, it didn't hit the mob one. That's interesting. Oh, because it's a constraint. Right. That's a constraint error, and that's in the data handler. And that's probably why. So, actually, no, error. It's still showing as error. An item on error. That one's on error, too. So, so mobs, MID, and okay, so put a thing here. Put one there. Item mob. Check constraints nowhere else that would happen at. Alright, let's run this again. Wow. Something wrong with that. Okay, so. So, if the equal mobs I.mid equals mobs j1 .mid. It's very interesting. What was the ID of that mob in RE? 1312. Let me add a second condition to this. Oh crap. I guess we can't do it there. That's fine. So I'll put it up here then. Conditions. And that was 1312. So if wow, it did not even come over here. So let's see. Oh wow, that's why. No wonder we weren't checking constraints on mobs. That'll do it. Technically we just passed type, but that will do it. Now we should get something that happens. Maybe. Show the Jeopardy music playing. Well, this stopped, but didn't do a break. That was interesting. Maybe the condition failed to run correctly or something. There we go. I think that was it. It was hung up on the break. That's what it was. You couldn't process that break command or something. Yeah, 13. There we go. Now it's gonna work. Continue. Continue. Yeah. There we go. Now we're gonna see that error log created. All right, let me go back to the. Where are you? Continue. All right, it's not going to show the error from that side, from the loading side yet. Error, perfect, awesome. We have it twice, which is interesting. Wonder if we're calling that constraint thing twice or something. That might be why there's all those things in the. Well, no, those are not constraint. Those are from the loading process, parsing process. Cool. All right, so good. That's working. Had to make sure this was working because I changed this to I changed the thing instead of using the past variable for the is already enabled. I'm using the settings now. Load item. Still got all the items. Good. So what is end key? Value -1%. So what is that for? That's for iEquipment local. Oh, right, because it can be So there's something for you. So that can be -1. So what what can be -1 in this context? Item type can't be. Equip gen can't be because that tells you who can use the item. Equip local can be for certain items. So we have to say let's do an if on this. Else itm.I eqp locals. Is 0 an actual valid value on this? Equipment locations, no it isn't, so 0 is fine. I think that's like the only time that would ever actually be an issue. Okay, so we found another bug to fix there. Gotta load these guys back in. I'll try. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to test the checking on the reverse side on the loading or the saving of an item on that side of it. So yellow potion 502. You should get a message, error message that it. No, that shouldn't have worked. That should not have worked. So IMDb, so update obviously, not save. The item is new, no, else if it's not new, if the handle update item turns false. And sure, if that's true, that should have happened. So, what's up with the update item? Go to definition. I'm going to go there, I don't want to peek it. No peeking, just going. So if data constraint errors, check constraints items. If B constraint errors return false. So check constraints item. So check constraints. So it's either going to be true or it's going to be false. Oh, I know why. Because it loops through everything still, so we have to break it. Once we hit an error, we have to break it. Otherwise, it's going to continue and then overwrite it, unless the last one in the list is an error. So we have to do that on both of these. For the, not for these, this would have worked. This other else would have worked, but the notification that there was an error, that wouldn't have worked because of that. So if we go check the folder, we should have a new error log. Yeah. And it should say, yeah, yellow potion has a constraint error. And I swear we're running this twice somehow. So we're calling it here. Read data. Once we're done reading the data, calling item and mob. We're calling it when we create an item. Okay. Calling it when we create a mob. And then on updates. So how's it getting called twice though? Because we're getting those mobs in there twice. Should only be reading in the RE. I think both of those say RE on them actually. Yep, RE. But we're getting that error twice. Oh, I know why. Because we are checking that constraint twice. We're calling it in mod this in here as well. That's why. So this is a parse error. Well, no, this is not a valid. So what's the? That's not it. Apparently. Oh, I didn't leave it open. Of course not. Why would I have to leave it open? So, has a it has a constraint error. It's getting called twice though. We're not calling constraints or doing any constraining in here. That's what's going on in the item. The item might do it twice, I suppose, because of that, maybe. So yeah, no, we gotta be calling it twice from data handler somehow. Are we calling it once we get back into the form 1? No. So gen files, files load data. On load files clicked. Dehandle, new dehandler. Data loaded, dlog. Data loaded, or there are critical errors. Still have to fix that. Yeah, it's not calling from anywhere. Is it calling from the control? Maybe it's in the constructor. I didn't check that. Read file. If not, return false. If else, return true. No. Not calling from there either. I have no clue where they're getting called from. There's only 4 places getting called from, and those are the correct places. Well, in this file. Let me check the entire document, entire project, solution, whatever. I'm pretty sure they're not being called anywhere else. Nope, just those 4 times. Weird. Now it's type mobs. That keeps it from being called twice from that. So we do call this twice. Oh. No, it is getting called twice because we call in two different files. The db1, db2 when we're using the secondaries. So what we actually have to do is we have to call it after this. Yeah. There's the problem. So if we don't even need to call type, we just need to call both of them individually. And this isn't getting called either. So if bdata is false, we should be getting a message showing up when that's b constraints is, or when bdata is false. All right, let's have a look here and see if this runs. Not runs, if it actually will work properly. So I thought I had added that in there, but I couldn't figure out why not. It wasn't calling properly. It should still work properly because and it's going to be false from that critical error. Nope, didn't call false. That's weird. B data not true. But we should only have one set of errors for the mob now, though. Yeah. Well, I'll have to wait for another time. So not sure why that's not calling. So, we have that done now. Let's go ahead and test. Well, we gotta do some stuff on the saving now. So, do I have the? Yes, I do. Okay. So, update item. Well, first let's check the. Well, let's see. Generate SQL statements. Trend list, add new line, mob. Where's the append at? Here we go, append source file. Plus file name equals whatever. So let's load in the data again. And I'm going to load up one of the custom items and see if it probably won't, well, maybe it will, maybe it won't show the folder correctly. I'm wondering if that'll cause an error, actually. Oh, no, because we don't have any data from those since we don't have the folder actually, or the file actually created for that. Okay, actually we do, I just don't have it named the right thing. That's the problem. Logs, tools, this, and let's see. Rename to custom items. And then custom mobs. And I'm going to check that in the settings because that's something I do a lot. M instead of D. Okay, we'll change this. So, custom items and custom mobs. Okay, close and restart. And then file load in. So there should have been an error generated for the custom mobs files not existing. That's another issue I gotta look at. Oh, I already did click it once. Nope, they're still not there. Okay. So we have an issue to look for here. Oh, they're not getting added because of this. So instead of putting that there, where they get taken out. Crap. We need to add them to. Need to add them after this. And instead of doing this, or actually put them down here. To be honest, that's probably where it should go. Whoops. And now I don't have it anymore. Where are you there? Should put it in here if custom then is enabled, and if contains custom. So it won't be this. We'll do it some other way, but for now I'm just gonna put that in the. Well, no, screw it. If we're gonna do this, we might as well do it the correct way. So we don't really care about files anymore. So we can just files equals this cust file. Well, crap. Equals cust files dot split on comma. Should be a character, not a string. And then for each string file in files, used files dot add file. And that's if b cust files is enabled. Now we got them. Alright, so I'm just going to load up one of them. No error, but it doesn't show here. So that means that's not going to have a thing here. So we'll need to fix that. Close this, close this. Whoops. Nope, we don't want to do that. We want to go to... well, it'll actually be both on mob and on item select. Or MobDB and the itemDB editor. When we first load this in... bool. So B, I don't know why they're not all here. They should be. B SEC is enabled, and bool B cust is enabled. Because we need to be able to put them both in. So if, or actually we need to set the values first. B SEC. Alright, where's the put after this? B SEC is enabled equals bool settings use SEC B cust is enabled equals bool settings dot defaults use cust. Now if B SEC is enabled so cbox item locale dot add items dot add item db so I don't think we need to remove them, just add them if they're enabled. Well, I know what it is for me, so I'm just gonna put it in your custom items, but we'll have to do some other approach for this for when I release it. And then we'll just grab this, throw it in the MobDB editor, wherever it's at. I'm not exactly sure at the moment. There it is. Done. Okay, and grab all these. And then grab all of this. You also need to use BRE is enabled. Forgot all about that. So actually that doesn't go here. No, that does go here. But we need to add the cbox item RE for the regular database. IMDb RE. I mean, it's already there by default, but it shouldn't be. And then this we need to change, because these aren't going to be the indexes really anymore. I didn't change it to that because I didn't think it was going to be that important to do it, but I think we will need to do it now. C box item locale, and then temp item dot item locale. We'll have to change that to a string. We'll need to make one with a string parameter for that. Another override. So that should do for that. And allow us to put whatever we want to in that thing, and then if it matches, it should be good. Alright, so we'll need to bring all this down. I think I already did all of it, but I'm going to copy over it. Then we need these three. And we need to change this to mob local. And then instead of item, it's mobdb. And then we need to do the same thing we did over here. Add to put in the new string override for set selected index. And then for okay. Cool, all there. So then if we load an item, test that new select index code. And yeah, it didn't work. Let's see, so specified cast is not valid. So if we're going through I1, so key value pair string int. That should still work. Combo box items I1 dot key. Or no, maybe it's because it's not actually or it's a list. It's not a combo. We're not doing a key value pair in this one, so we're not setting a data source to it, or something similar to a data source. So I think on this one we have to use that get value thing. So if c box dot item or dot gets item text for I1. Just copy this over to the other one. That should work. Well, this didn't work actually, but everything else did. Didn't throw an error, let's put it that way. So let's get item text equals target value. So let's see. Settings. So not that one, but the get item text, selected item. Okay, selected item has to be a CBox item. Interesting. So how do we do this when we don't know what the actual index is going to be? So I guess we have to kind of do it backwards. We'll need to set the index to each loop, and then check it afterwards. And if it's still not there, set it to -1, and then repeat the process. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's the only way I can think of right now. If that works, we'll change the code over in the mob DB editor. So the idea here is to test the appending function. The first thing to make sure it's loading the items correctly. So we have the file name. Okay, there we go, that works. Stupid as it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit clear data. That's fine. We're gonna create a new one. 65. Well, no, 65 is probably already. Let's do 70,000. English name will be test1. Test1. Buy price 12. Type will be an etc. item. So there. Sell price 5. Wait 2. Slots none 0. 0 0. Doesn't need an equip location, equip gender both, and item script will be just bonus be all stats 10. Something simple. Item location will be custom items. Okay, so slots we have an issue with. Slots.text has nothing in it. So basically it's null. Okay, I think I said that we're gonna, I said we're gonna handle that, and then I never handled it, so I fell prey to my own procrastination. Still not gonna worry about it. Just remember not to leave anything blank, except for the checkbox. So again, 70,000. Test 1, test space 1. 12 or 13 doesn't really matter. Now it should be an etc. One more. So down to thief. Equip genders both, and again with the bonus be all stats 10, and then custom items. Save. So let's go ahead and try loading it. It should be there. Yep. Okay. Good. Now let's go to check the... So it should have automatically appended it, no matter what. That should happen when you create a new item. So, yeah, custom items at 2:12 a.m. Let's see what the last entry is. Oh, it says it was modified, but I don't see... Oh, there it is here. Right, we need to make sure that we put a new line on the beginning of that. So there it is, good. Now we're going to try and load it in from here back into the program and then see if it'll run and load it. So let's go ahead and hit stop. So that's good though. That'll work, period, for everything. If it works for that, it'll work for everything. We just need to make that one adjustment, data handler. See, mobs, create mob, append, here we go. File writer line, make sure we add a plus data. Okay. File load. So this will complete the circle, basically, if we can get it to... Now the problem is if we do this and don't click generate files, that means that it'll produce an update statement, or maybe not. So that's the only issue I see with this. I don't know how to handle that, because there's like... And you're reloading everything back into the app after you've had to load it in once and close it down. So... If you're out of luck and have to do it by hand at that point. So load item. I'll change all the values though so that it'll register it as everything as an updated field. Cool, there it is. Nice, everything is loaded up perfectly. So ID will be the same. Well, we'll change it to 7001. 212. Healing. I think we just change it to 0. Well, no, that won't be enough. We'll change it to 1 even though it's not going to do anything. Doesn't really matter. It won't read those fields anyway. We'll take a few off of there, change it to 12. Of course, that'll cause an error if we try and put it in that way. So now we're testing the update. Okay, I've been applied. Exit, and then file generate SQL. Don't believe there's any messages for that. Yeah, just write SQL. So let's go check our generated folder. Right, where was that set to? Oh, it's right out here. So 2:17 a.m. Custom items. Nothing there. Interesting. So that seems to be something we need to work on. Oh right. It'll be in test. No, it won't. There was. Did I? Let me see. I changed it to. So write out. Right. Generate SQL. For each island, generate SQL. Blah 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 blah. Return list. File name SQL. So for used files. Okay, so probably this code isn't working. So what I changed this to do is to loop through. Well, first of all, the items, the SQL statements are created in key value pairs. The key. Is that why? No, it's not why. So the key is the record to be written, basically the update or the insert string, and the value is the location the item that's supposed to be written to, is the file it's supposed to be written to. Then we pass that back to the for each loop here, and then we pull the value out to check it to see if it equals f, which is the used files, which means it's part of the part of that list of files that we create. And for each one that matches, we insert into a write list. So basically, we're taking all the new insert statements or the update statements that belong to each particular file, and we are storing them to write them all at once, so that we don't have to write them to each file, whatever, and append it. So once we get all the insert or update statements for a particular file, we are passing it down to the other file writer, or this other using statement with this file writer. And then for each line of write list, we are writing it to the file. Problem is that something in here seems not to be working. So I'll have to check that out later. But the auto appending is working though, which is good. Let's go ahead and try that also for mobs. Because as long as that works, then I can just format those strings to whatever I need to that are in the generation source files. So I don't have to have it generate out anything for me. So mobdb, loading all the crap into the item lists. My memory is climbing Mount Everest right now. Okay. So load mob from. Let's load pouring. Mob location didn't load properly. I didn't change the code for that, so we'll do that manually. Alright, so change that to. Well, clear the data first. Yes. And now let's put in some new data, some new crazy data. Let's start at 9,000 for the ID. We'll just make it a pouring, so we'll call it pouring. Japanese name. We'll call it. Level 120. Health points 2 million. Skill points 450,000. Base experience. Let's say 75,000, and then 40,000 for a job. MVP experience. 38,000. So attack range will be 2. Min attack will be 120. Skill range will be 0 because there won't be any skills. Max attack 300. Sight range 25. Elements. Element will be 21. Defense will be 85. Magic defense 65. Strength 45. Agility 70. Vitality 100. Intelligence 40. Dexterity 75. And luck 30. Scale will be medium. Science race will be formless. Walk speed 250. Attack delay 360. Attack motion. Just putting in whatever, so I don't know what the defaults normally are for these. Damage motion 600. So behavioral presets will be aggressive 6 and MVP. We'll also include, oh wow, that happened there, that's interesting. That should have added, but it didn't add, it subtracted. Yeah, it's interesting, it didn't include everything. Well, we'll put it back in then. Not a looter. We'll have all the different chases. Can attack, obviously we need that. Can move, we need that. Random targets, target weak. And that's all. So MVP 1 drop will be a blue potion. Drop chance will be 460. Meat will be 1500. And let's say SLD Lord of Death card 6500. Then normal drops. Drop a banana at 4,000. Drop Panacea at 8,000. And we'll have it drop Golden Anvil at 450. And we'll also drop Pouring card at 25,000. And item location, obviously custom mobs. So we got some problems here. Index was out of range. Because, is this still 22? Did we not change this to the proper amount? Or did we not even change it? We didn't set it up at all, did we? I don't see it anywhere. We didn't even set that up at all, did we? Oh no, we had to have. Yeah, it's 20. There it is, 22. That's why. Crap. Well, I'm not going to redo all that text, so just have to see what happens later. But yeah, so that looks like it's all working for the most part. So that's kind of where it's at now. It's in a usable place for the well, except for the mob stuff. I'll have to fix that and see if there's anything else wrong with it. But items were good. At least for what I could use it for, what I need for using it. It'd be nice to have it be able to generate the file, but I'll also look into that later, I suppose. So that's going to end this stream for today. Probably won't do any more streaming until I get back. I think sometime maybe the end of next week. So thanks for checking out the stream, for watching on YouTube afterwards. Comments, questions, leave them below. And I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.